let's get on to the sanitary risers, to which these sanitary pipes, which are placed over here, lead, which are actually the riser. For here, it's number 2. So let's go check out its path. First, we're going to have to assess its situation from the levels floor plans. And we could also get some help from our riser diagram. Okay, so let's zoom in over here. We've got riser number 2, which will be starting from this level, which is level 5. We've got the 5th floor sanitary pipes, which are placed under the 4th floor ceiling, then lead into this riser. Then we have the 4th floor sanitary pipes, as well as the 3rd floors. And eventually all of those will end at the riser number 1. So let's just draw up to this point and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay, so reminder, we're starting from the 3rd floor. Now let's also go take a look at our floor plan. First, I'm going to create a section over here. There's the section. Then I'm going to also minimize it a little bit. Then right click on it and go to view. Also, I'm going to expand the section from the bottom like this. And now we're going to start drawing our riser. So first, I'm clicking on this pipe to select it. Now right click on it, then select draw pipe. And then I'm going to draw this pipe at a 45-degree angle. And after that, I'm going to continue drawing straight down. Now, if we go take a look at the floor plan, we've got this symbol right here, which indicates that no pipes go above it, but this riser does go down with diameter 110. We've drawn it all correctly so far. And now if we go take a look at the riser diagram, we can see the same thing, this 110 diameter, but the pipe that's going upwards all the way to the roof is in fact a vent pipe. So I'm going to go back in here in this section, and I'm going to have to select this elbow, then click on the plus sign to convert it to a T. And then I'm going to click on the T-fitting to select it. And then I'm going to right click on this clip. Then select draw pipe and draw upwards. Now I've only drawn up to where I can see, and we're just going to draw the rest of it later. Now I'm going to drag over these fittings and pipe to select them. And then I'm going to bring them to the right as far as possible. Which, as you can see, there is also some kind of a false wall, inside which our riser is going. Now to have a better view on things, I could just drag over this whole thing, and then click on selection box, or simply just use the shortcut BX. Here we are. Now again, to improve our view even more, we could just go over to the properties palette and then change the discipline from mechanical to coordination. Okay, so the pipe that we just drew is this one, and if we take a look at it from the side, we can see that there are a couple of false walls between which the riser is supposed to be placed. Alright, now let's head back to the plan. And so the riser that we just drew is located over here. It goes right on this point. Now let's go check it out from the level below. For example, we are in the 5th floor plan right now, so I'm gonna head to the 4th floor. And we were about here. We can see the riser again, which is going straight down. And after this, let's go take a look in the 3rd floor plan, where you can see that once again we have the riser. Let's not forget to go back in section to continue the pipe. So first I'm going to expand the section from the bottom, and then I'm going to select the pipe, and we are in the 3rd floor. Then I'm going to draw all the way down till it covers the 3rd floor sanitary, which is below the ceiling of the lower level. So we can also see this pipe in the 3rd floor. And as for the 2nd floor, as you can see, we've got another riser in the 2nd floor, which is for the vent. And if we go back to take a look at the 3rd floor, we can see that there are 3 pipes, one of which doesn't continue all the way down to the 2nd floor. So if we look here, we can see that there's this pipe. We have this sanitary pipe, which is connecting to this riser. And also from this side, we've got the floor drain, the toilet, and everything else connected to it as well. And then this pipe continues to the right. Let's follow where it goes. We can see that it leads to another riser. In fact, it's being connected to riser number 1, which is exactly what we saw in the riser diagram too. you can see that here it says the riser is going to be leading into riser number 1 in this level. So now let's go take a look at riser number 1, which we can see riser number 2 and 6 are connected to it, and the riser goes down. Now in the floor plan, we can see that there's one riser here, and it's probably riser number 6. So if we check over here, we have this riser number 1, and if we follow its path, we can see another tag for it. Now this is pretty obvious in the riser diagram that our riser number 1 has some change in direction right around the ceiling of this level, which continues and it still goes here, riser number 1. We have the same thing going on here. The pipe is going this way, changes direction, and then continues. Now let's also check riser number 6, which is supposed to be connected to this riser in this way. So let's follow the path of this line. We're going to follow this branch, and we can see that it leads here to this riser. Now let's check its tag. It's riser number 6. Alright, so the risers number 2 and number 6 are going to eventually lead and end at the riser number 1. So let's go draw those pipes. So for now, I'm going to ignore all of these branches which are connecting to the riser, and we're going to come back to them later. First, I'm going to head into this section, and here we were in the ceiling of the second floor, where in fact the sanitary pipes of the third floor are modeled. Here it is, third floor. Alright, now I'm going to go into section, then right click on this pipe, select draw pipe, then I'm going to draw at a 45-degree angle, and also make sure that it's sloped down 1%, and then I'm going to continue drawing this pipe in the left direction. Let's also bring these two elbows closer together. Okay, so what we have in the third floor is actually the rest of this path. Now let's continue drawing the pipe in the floor plan. So I'm going to right click on here and draw pipe. Let's check again, slope down 1%, and diameter is still 110. Now I'm going to draw all the way to here, click, then draw here at a 45-degree angle, then we're going to move to the right, all the way here, click, and then we're going to go up at a 45-degree angle again, and click. Now the reason why we don't see this last piece of pipe is probably because of the view range, as in maybe the length at which we've gone down with this pipe, which was 1 meter, is probably not covered in the view range and it's beyond that. But first we're going to have to double check our path to make sure there aren't any interferences with any beams. Now the first beam in our way is probably around here. So first I'm going to create a section along this way, and then I'm going to make the section tighter. And here I'm going to right click and go to view. Now if we take a look over here, we can see that this pipe going below the beam still has enough space to go even higher, but not any more than this. This is the highest elevation we could draw this pipe at to prevent it from interfering with the beam. Now I'm going to create another section this way where we also have another beam. The thing is, if there's an interference here and the elevation of all of the beams are the same, then there's definitely another interference. Still, we're going to double check that in section, just in case our beams have different elevations. So now I'm going to also make this section a little tighter so that it only covers this pipe. And then I'm going to right click on it and go to view. So as you can see here, our pipe is still going below the beams. Alright, so we were going to check this pipe that was invisible. So I'm going to go back in this section, right click, go to view. And it was this pipe that was invisible in the floor plan. So first I'm going to measure the distance from this floor plan up to the ceiling, which is also the FFL of the level above, which is 1171. But in the floor plan, let's hit VR for view range. We had 1000 in the depth, but that distance was 1171. So for example, I'm going to change this to negative 1200. And now you can see that once our view range has been expanded, the pipe has become visible. Now let's go to this riser and continue drawing this one. First I'll get the pipe command using the shortcut PI, and we're going to double check the diameter, which is still 110. And since I'm going to be drawing the branch from the middle of the pipe, I'm going to have to enable the inherit elevation and make sure the slope is up. Okay, so now I'm going to click over here, but pay attention to how the elevation is going to change because I've enabled inherit elevation. Click. And the elevation changes to negative 1033. Now I'll draw at a 45-degree angle and get this T-fitting, then go all the way up to here. Click, and now the riser is supposed to go all the way up. But first let's go take a look at the upper level to see where it goes. So I'm just going to move this section over here, right-click on it and go to View. Now over here I'm going to click on the pipe, right-click on it, draw pipe, then draw at 45 degrees, then go straight up. The riser was supposed to be coming from the upside. So now, if we go look in the third floor, once again I'm going to drag over this whole thing to select these parts. And the reason why they're not going to be selected is because of the view range, so let's hit VR. And if you remember, we said that everything between the bottom and the view depth won't be selectable. So it's best if we change this to -1200 and then click OK. Now we can select them by dragging over them. And now I'm going to move them lower and stop here. We were in the third floor and we were supposed to go upwards. So I'll go to the fourth floor and we've got riser number 6, which isn't coming from up, but instead we only have this riser in this very level. So that means that from the sanitary pipes of the fourth floor, we have this toilet and this floor drain, which are connecting to this riser. So basically, if we go take a look at this section, we understand that the sanitary pipes are coming from the fourth floor. So I'm just going to select this pipe and drag it upwards, all the way to below the ceiling. After this, some sanitary pipes are going to be connected to it, which is what we're going to do when we are modeling the sanitary pipes of the fourth floor. Okay, so in this third floor, we have this riser number 6 and the riser number 2, which are connected to each other, then leading all the way here to riser number 1. Also, the riser number 1 has some change in direction, which we're going to be drawing later. And then the riser is going to be leading down. So this riser number 1, which changes direction, is going down from here. Now I'm going to create a 45-degree section along this pipe, and then I'm going to make it tighter, and right-click on it and go to View. Right here I'm going to right-click on this pipe, select Draw Pipe, then draw downwards at a 45-degree angle, and then I'm going to continue straight down. Let's also expand the section from the bottom, and there we have it. Now I'm going to select these elbows together, then head back to the third floor plan. And as you can see, these elbows are supposed to go back a little bit. And also to make this bar less crowded, I'm going to close the extra views that we don't need and only keep the third floor plan and the section we're working on. Now I'll head to the View tab, select Tile Views, so I could see the floor plan and the section view simultaneously. Now in the section I'm going to select the pipes which I'm about to move, and then I'm going to move them gradually to the left, which if we take a look in the floor plan we can see that the pipes are going backwards, still at a 45-degree angle. So you see this riser is going to go up to the corner cover of this column. Let's move it a little more, and there we go. Now also in the floor plan I'm going to move it to the left, and then I'm going to stop at this point. Now it's by the column's corner cover. Okay, so after this point we're going to have to draw a branch for the riser number 1 to connect to it. First I'm going to create a section here, click, and click. Then I'm going to also close this section, and make sure to make this one a little tighter. Now let's right click on it and go to View. So we're about to draw a branch from here. Then I'm going to get the pipe command using the shortcut PI, then click, at 45-degree angle, and then we're going to continue drawing to the right. Now I'm going to grab this T-fitting and move it up as far as it goes. Alright, so let's take a look over here, and we can see the pipe is going into the column. So that means that I'm going to have to select this whole thing, then move them both together lower, just to prevent this interference of these pipes with this column. Now to draw the rest of the pipe, first I'm going to have to drag this one and make it shorter, because we're trying to draw according to the plan. Right click, draw pipe, then make sure slope is up, then draw at a 45-degree angle. Now we're going to go all the way up, then go to the left at a 45-degree angle again. Let's check to make sure, and then we're going to click, then press escape. Okay, so this is the riser that is going up and is no longer going down, but it stops and changes direction at this point. Now something we're going to need to pay attention to is that according to the plan, this pipe over here serves as the riser pipe, and it happens to be interfering with this duct over here. So to rectify this interference, I'm just going to have to select this pipe, then move it a little bit to the right. So basically, we've just moved our pipe so that it's no longer interfering with this duct. Now as for this elbow fitting, it is best that we select it and move it lower and bring it closer to the other elbow next to it. Now over at this point, we've got the clean out. So I'm going to have to select this elbow, then click on the plus sign to convert it to a T so that I could draw a pipe connecting to the clean out vent. As for this part where the pipe is going up, we could just create another section right over here, click, at a 45-degree angle. Then I'm going to make the section tighter, right click on it and go to view. Now this pipe is supposed to go up from this point, so right click and draw pipe, then draw at a 45-degree angle, and then go straight up. Now we're going to go over in the plan to double check and see which way it's coming from. I'm going to also bring these elbows closer. Now I'm going to want to see the floor plan and the section view simultaneously, so I'll go to the View tab and select Tile Views. To the left we have this section and to the right we have the floor plan. Now we're going to have to move this one a little bit. First I'm going to drag over these two elbows to select them in the section, then bring them to the right. But in fact, if we look in the plan, we can see that they're going backwards at a 45-degree angle. And there we go. Okay, so right now we're going to have to go over to the upper level so we could see what we should do with riser number 1. In fact, we are drawing all of the risers which are codependent with each other to begin with. Okay, so we were in the 3rd floor plan, and now let's head to the 4th floor. If we take a look over here in this level, we can see the symbol for the riser, to which nothing is connected. So this pipe is just going to have to go straight up. Let's also take a look at the 5th floor, and we can see that in this floor plan, on this area over here, we've got some kind of pantry, which is in fact where this riser is connected from. Let's also go take a look in the riser diagram, and we can see the same thing. In the 5th floor plan, we have this branch, but we don't have that in the 4th floor. Now, I'm just going to go into this section in the 3rd floor, and then I'm going to stretch it from the top. Then right-click on the riser pipe, select Draw Pipe, then go straight up. We had no branches in the 4th floor, but we do have at least a branch in the 3rd. So now let's get to drawing the branch. First I'm going to head to the 5th floor plan, and here it is. The branch is coming in this way, so I'm going to have to create a vertical section so I could draw the below ceiling pipe from the riser. I'm going to also make this section a little tighter. Right click on it and go to view. Now the rest of this pipe is going to be going this way, so I'm going to stretch the section from the side. Next I'm going to right click on this pipe, select Draw Pipe, then draw at a 45-degree angle, slope up, and then I'm going to draw part of the pipe in this direction. It is interfering with the beam, so we're going to select these elbows and hold the Control key, then select the pipe, and then we're going to move them all lower till the pipe passes the beams. Now I'm going to have to go take a look in the floor plan to see how it turned out. And here in the 5th floor plan, we can see that up to this point it is accurate. I'm going to drag to make it shorter, right click and select Draw Pipe, slope up, and I'm going to draw at a 45-degree angle up to this point. We're just going to stop at an approximate location. Also, we can see that the plan says the diameter is still 110. And now in this section, we can see that the directions change. And after that, we don't have any beams, which means that the elevation of the pipe is good up to here. Now once again, I'm going to go take a look at this in the riser diagram and see that it doesn't have any more branches, but it goes with diameter 100 and it becomes a vent pipe. So I'm just going to go continue drawing in this section. Here we are. Select this elbow, click on the plus sign to convert it to a T, then right click on the T fitting, select Draw Pipe, and then draw all the way up. Now later when we get to the modeling of the pipes in the roof, we're going to also finish drawing this vent pipe. Alright, so up to the 3rd floor, we have drawn about 3 risers, which are risers number 1, number 6, and finally riser number 2. In the next step, I'm gonna have to check in the lower levels to see where this riser number 1 goes.